Right, so if you don't live close to the Batley area, which is in West Yorkshire, there are other ways that you can access the MoFo services. Now, at the start of the first lockdown, we set up an online rehab facility where basically people came to us, and originally it was just the UK-based strength athlete population. It's now become worldwide, and we're now as busy online as we are face-to-face. And I think this is because of the emphasis that I place as far as rehabilitation is concerned. You know, if you've seen me face-to-face, one of the first things I say to my face-to-face clients is that hands-on won't fix your injury. It might give you some pain relief. It might give you some ability to be able to move differently, to identify some of those movement restrictions. But fundamentally, whether you see me face-to-face or online, the fix comes in the rehab. Now, a lot of people then say, well, how do you fix injuries? How do you diagnose injuries online? Now, face-to-face, I tend to use what's called a hypothetico-deductive model of clinical reasoning. So you come in, we take a case history, I start to generate some hypotheses, I then test those hypotheses using various different tests. I might take you downstairs into the gym, I might put you under some load and see if we can start to identify those energy leaks, those areas which are causing compensation and then leading to your shoulder problem or your back problem. Well, online it's exactly the same, just a slightly different way of diagnosing injuries. Now, before your session, I'll get you to send me some pictures of you in a front, side and rear relaxed position so we can identify any postural compensations that have taken place as far as your injury is concerned. So, for example, malalignment in the shoulders, position of the scapula, shifts in your back where you've got lower back pain, signs of atrophy where your muscles have started to get slightly smaller and weaker because of disuse or because of some neurological problems. And then I'll also supplement that with some videos of you performing some of the lifts that you struggle with. So that might be your squats, your deadlifts, it might be your bench presses. It will depend where those injuries that you've got lie. Now, in conjunction with that, we then organise a 45-minute online consultation, which is basically where I take a case history. So we're going to take some information down, you're going to talk through your injury, and I'm going to use what's called a pattern recognition style of clinical reasoning. So all injuries have got patterns of dysfunction. All injuries tend to exhibit similar symptoms. And in this way, I'm able to generate my hypothesis, and then we use a rehabilitation approach to actually fix that problem. So once we finish the call, I then spend the next 2 or 3 hours creating a program which looks like a training program. So if you're working with a coach, I'll take your coach's program and make some slight tweaks to that program to make it injury friendly. If you're not working with a coach, I then create a bespoke program which is injury friendly. So, and that'll be based on a split that you're currently working on. So you might be on a push-pull leg split, you might be on a body part split, you might be on an upper-lower split. So essentially, I'll tailor the program and the rehab to fit your specific needs. Alongside that program, you'll then get your rehab stuff, and this becomes an integral part of the program. So what you'll find I tend to do here is use it almost like movement prep. So before you start your training session, you'll go through your rehab. This is going to fire up certain muscles or mobilize certain areas to make them looser and more mobile so you can get into good positions. And then your training program, your rehab program, then becomes almost part and parcel of the same thing. So a lot of people, when they're working with me, say it feels like I'm training. And that's what I think good rehab should be. It should look and feel like a training program. You know, gone are the days, I think, well, hopefully gone are the days where people are given, those banded exercises for their rotator cuff muscles, because they don't transfer into anything. Now, if you think about that movement, arm by your side, externally rotating the bottom of your arm, what does that kind of replicate? What does that look like as far as your gym sessions are concerned? And the answer is nothing. It doesn't look like anything. So therefore it doesn't transfer well back into your gym program. So usually what happens in those situations is you do these rehab exercises for weeks and weeks, you go back into the bench and all of a sudden you think my shoulder feels exactly the same because you've built strength in a non-functional range of movement. So for me, a good training program is part and parcel of the rehabilitation program. And as I say, that might simply be some modifications to your existing program if you're coached, or it might be a creation of a new program if you're not coached, in which case I'll create that program for you. Now, the next 4 weeks, which is the next contact point with me face to face, you're going to spend 4 weeks working through that rehab program. Now, each week you're going to create a little portfolio, which you'll send to me. This might be videos of some of your exercises. It might be check-in pictures so we can keep a track on your progress. But fundamentally, every week we have a point of contact, which is either via text message or voice message. Now, if there's changes need to be made at that point, I'll go back into your program and I'll make those changes accordingly. So the worst thing in the world from an injury perspective is finding that at week 1, you're doing something that aggravates your shoulder or your back, and you don't mention that until week 4 when we get together face to face, by which point you've hardwired that new movement pattern in and you've probably exacerbated your injury. So as soon as you get to the point where something isn't working, it doesn't feel good, you contact me, I make those appropriate changes, and then we know over the next 4 weeks, each time you check in, we're starting to see progress moving forwards. Now, the online service, the success rate of our face-to-face is about 95%. The success rate of our online program is also 95%. And you'll find that basically we have the same level of success whether I see you face-to-face or I see you online. And that's because fixing injuries is all about the rehabilitation.